A Zanesville man was arrested for soliciting a minor via computer in Parkersburg. Jerry Simoncic was arrested by Parkersburg police detectives on Thursday after traveling from Zanesville to Parkersburg to meet with somebody he believed was a 14-year-old female for a sexual relationship. In August, Simoncic initiated a conversation on a social media platform with a female who was actually a Parkersburg police detective. Soon after initiating, Simoncic was advised he was communicating with a 14-year-old female, which he acknowledged. On Thursday, he was stopped by detectives as he traveled toward the agreed upon meeting location and was taken into custody without incident. Simoncic was transported to Parkersburg Police Headquarters, where he was interviewed by detectives and charged with one count of soliciting a minor via computer. He was arraigned in Wood County Magistrate Court, and his bond was set to $75,000. He failed to post bond and was incarcerated at the North Central Regional Jail.